Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of Book Club. Today we are talking about The Art of Learning by Josh Waitzkin. Let me just start by saying this is the only audiobook I've ever listened to where I got to the end and immediately just started back at the beginning again. There's so much information in this book. I don't feel like I could really summarize it in, a 10-minute YouTube video. So what I am going to try to do is take 5 of my favorite ideas from the book that I feel like really encapsulate the spirit of his methodology for learning and just explain those 5 and give you guys an overall view of what I thought was most interesting from the book. Josh Waitzkin is one of the few people in the world that has ever reached the top of 2 different unrelated competitive fields on a world scale. As a child and a young adult, he reached the World Championships of Chess. The film Searching for Bobby Fischer, if you saw it, was based on his young competitive chess life as a child. And then in his 20s, he reached and won the global championships for Tai Chi push hands, which is the competitive fighting form of Tai Chi. And he went to Taiwan and won the global championships multiple times in Taiwan. And listening to him talk about the depth that it takes to reach mastery at a truly global level was fascinating. There's a one point in the book where he's explaining training this Tai Chi technique, this throw, over and over again, and getting it so repetitive and so ingrained that during competition, time slows down to the point where he can see the twitch in an opponent's cheek that comes just before his blink, and then execute the throw during the blink while his opponent's eyes are closed. It's a depth of learning that I didn't really actually know existed. He has gone deeper into 2 separate disciplines than I think anyone I've ever met has ever gone into anything. So listening to him talk and listening to his theories on learning and what it takes to master skills at this level was absolutely fascinating. Okay, the 5 ideas I thought were most interesting from the book. Number 1, the incremental approach versus the entity approach. This is one of the only ideas in here that I'd actually heard talked about before, usually referred to as the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. He says that having the belief that mastery comes from repetition and hard work and growth, not from some innate talent or some inborn characteristics, is an absolutely essential belief, that you cannot gain mastery in any skill without this belief. If you believe that it's because people are talented or because some people are born better than others, you have no chance. You've already started off on a losing foot if you're trying to gain mastery in anything. Second, this was my favorite idea from the book, was the idea of the conscious mind training the subconscious, and the fact that in the learning cycle, in the process of learning, that's what the conscious mind is for. That the conscious mind is far too slow and too laborious and too small of a bandwidth to actually be able to perform any skill well or pull any large data sets needed in a small enough amount of time to have it be truly useful at a competitive level. So the purpose of the conscious mind in learning is to take very small amounts of information and pick them apart and learn the details of them and then repeat them over and over until they're implanted into the subconscious memory, into the body memory or the muscle memory. And then the subconscious can take these small bits and connect them to other small bits that have been implanted the same way and make these huge stacks of information that can then be called up all together as one giant cohesive piece in order to be used during performance or during competition. I always connect learning to music because that was what I did most as a child, and that's where I've probably delved the deepest into learning. And this to me is learning all the chord structures and the scales and being able to understand all the interrelated parts of chordal theory, and so that when you go to improvise or you go to jam with somebody else, your subconscious has each of these little bits implanted into this huge network that you can pull up all at once and use this massive construct of data that's so much more than the conscious mind would ever be able to conceive of or concentrate on at one point in time. Number 3 is diving into the micro to understand the macro. By diving so deep into a very minute technical aspect of the art and mastering it to a true level of mastery, you will go through a gateway that leads to mastery in all other forms of the art. Once again, if you think of this as a music example, this is playing just a C chord over and over and over again and jamming on the C chord and just playing it until you're so bored with it that you have to do something else to make it become interesting. And so you end up learning about inflections in tone and inflections in phrasing and minute inflections in rhythmic structure, and you start making all of these advancements in more subtle aspects of the art, which will help in all of your playing over your entire career as a musician. And it's done through diving really, really deep into one simple thing. If you're constantly playing a whole bunch of chords that are complex and are right at the edge of your ability and you're concentrating as hard as you can, you're never gonna have time to learn about the subtleties of tone and phrasing and take the time to develop the finer crafts of the art that will come through in all aspects of your playing. Number 4, following perfectly after number 3, is repetition must not lead to monotony. Which, if you're diving really deep into minute aspects of a thing, this can happen. And you can get to a point where you said, I have to do 10,000 repetitions of this, and then you get to a point where you're just going through the motions to get them done and not being fully present and concentrating while it's happening, and that's just completely worthless. He says that this is what must be avoided at all costs, that the true skill of learning is the skill of presence, and that deep presence in every aspect of our practice and our performance is the most necessary part of learning and moving forward. His quote here is, "We cannot expect to touch excellence if going through the motions is the norm of our lives. On the other hand, if deep fluid presence becomes second nature, then life and art and learning take on a richness that will continually surprise and delight." Number 5 is invest in loss. And he had 2 points here. One, we learn most from pushing outside of our comfort zone and losing. Sometimes it can be really painful to invest in loss, especially if you're doing Tai Chi like he was, where investing in loss means getting thrown onto the floor or against a wall so hard that the plaster's falling off the ceiling, like he describes in multiple of his training sessions. Or it can just mean, you know, playing music with someone that's better than you and messing up and looking like a fool and being embarrassed. And it hurts our ego, and it's hard to invest in loss, especially if for a little while we've been in a group where we're the better player. If you're playing basketball with a few friends or playing music with a few friends and you're the best one, it feels really good and it's comfortable, and it's hard to go out and seek out better competitors and lose and have yourself be made a fool. But if you're looking for mastery on a global level and not on a local level amongst your friends, it's the only way to move forward, is to continually seek out people that are better and learn from them.